And news just coming in, we are now learning that the Russian Defense Ministry has claimed that the city of Popasna has been captured by people from the Luhansk Republic from the Ukraine army. Let's actually listen into that briefing that's come in from the Russian Defense Ministry.
Units of the Russian armed forces advanced up to 14 kilometers in a day. During the offensive, control was established over the southern districts of Blagodatnaya, Vladimirovka, Pavlovka and Nikolskaya settlements. In Nikolskaya, the militants of Aidar National Battalion have an equipped firing position right on the territory of the Orthodox Holy Domitian Nikolo-Vasilievsky Monastery held about 300 civilians and monks hostage. During the liberation of this settlement by Russian units, some of the nationalists were wiped out, the rest was scattered. The hostages and buildings of the monastery were not harmed. The grouping of the People's Militia troops of the Luhansk Republic continuing offensive actions completely blocked Vorovskoye and gained a foothold in the northern districts of Popasna city. In Severodonetsk, units of the Luhansk People's Republic blocked the eastern and southern parts of the city. Aviation and air defense of the Russian aerospace forces shot down one Su-24 aircraft of the Ukrainian Air Force in Lyubimovka area and two unmanned aerial vehicles. 188 assets of the Ukrainian military infrastructure were hit by operational tactical, army and unmanned aircraft, including 4 control points and communication centers, 2 Buk M1 anti-aircraft missile systems, 1 guidance and target designation radar station, 3 multiple launch rocket systems, 1 electronic warfare station, 3 ammunition depots and 56 areas of military equipment concentration. In total, 3,687 assets of military infrastructure of Ukraine were neutralized during the operation. Destroyed 128 unmanned aerial vehicles, 1,194 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 121 multiple rocket launchers, 443 field artillery and mortars, 991 units of special military vehicles.
Well, that, of course, was the Russian side, which has been claiming advances as far as their movement in Ukraine is concerned. I think we're going to go across to Mr. Payne in just a minute. He's a geopolitical analyst. He's joining us live from Kolkata. Mr. Payne, if you can hear us yet, there are a lot of developments that are taking place. Key amongst them, of course, is the fact that there is going to be talks between China and the United States of America. We are also expecting the 4th round of talks to take place between Ukraine and Russia. Mr. Patikrit Payne, I think you're now with us. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Republic. Now, Mr. Payne, talks, of course, are scheduled between China and the United States today. And there has been a lot of saber rattling around these talks. Do you expect any forward movement as far as the crisis in Ukraine is concerned?
Well, I think the reason why the Americans are very interested in talking to the Chinese is because now the Russians are looking for critical, spare parts of their aircrafts, critical weapon systems, and their spare parts, and probably some other things as well. And that I think the Russians are also looking for the Chinese to take a considerable amount of their oil because of the sanctions in the West. So the Chinese are now being pressurized by the Americans that not to do anything to support the Russians. Whether the Chinese will take an active role in terms of reducing the pressure or the problem, I don't know. But as of yet, they have played a passive role, and I think the ball is in the court of the Chinese, and they actually have the upper hand. All this time, the Americans were putting the pressure on the Chinese for several issues, and justifiably so. Today, the Americans are literally crawling at the feet of the Chinese not to help the Russians. So there will be a bargain. What the Chinese will ask in bargain and seek in bargain, that is something we have to see. At the same time, we must remember China till date, depends considerably on Russia for critical natural resources, oil, commodities, and coal. Russia plays a very critical part in maintaining Central Asia's peace, where through the Belt and Road Initiative of China goes. So whether China will actually disown Russia, that is a very big question mark, and I don't think that's going to happen. For the time being, the reason the Chinese are not supporting the Russian banks because it's been primarily because the Russian banks have been suspended from the SWIFT, the banking interbank transaction system globally. Otherwise, I think the Chinese will somehow eventually help the Russians, and the Russians will also, once the sanctions are there, will route their natural resources and exports through China for which the Chinese might take a cut. And this is where the Americans are very concerned. They are trying to put pressure, but I don't know where it will end. The Chinese might look for some kind of a heavy bargain in return.
All right, Mr. Payne, do stay with us. We'll come back to you for more analysis. But as he was pointing out, of course, those crucial talks to be held today, we'll have to wait and watch for what each side is willing to give.